Hey everyone, Pop Daddy here, and I hope you're having a great holiday season. As you may know, Christmas is coming up, and if you're watching this, Christmas should be tomorrow. And if you celebrate, I wish you a Merry Christmas. And if not, I hope you're having a happy holiday season. And today I will be giving you my list of my top 10 favorite Christmas movies. If you're like me and you love pop culture items, then you definitely do love when people make lists. And I think I've got a pretty good list. I don't know if anyone else would agree with it, but I think that mine's pretty tight. But before we get to that, I'm going to be giving you a baby update. Baby is currently at 27 weeks, so that would put them at a size of a bottle of sriracha sauce. I do not have a bottle of sriracha sauce with me, but if I did, I would hold it like this, because it's big. Then I would hold it like this, because it's baby. Anyways, let's get started. Now, before we get started, there are three Christmas movies that I will not be having on my list that will probably cause some controversy. Those are Muppet Christmas Carol, A Christmas Story, and Elf. Muppet Christmas Carol, I have my own personal reasons for not including. I love the Muppets, but I do not like A Muppet Christmas Carol. I may explain why in the future, but as for now, I'm not too big of a fan on it. And Christmas Story and Elf are, I don't want to say overrated, but I just don't enjoy those movies. They play for 24 hours every year, and you kind of get tired of hearing about them, you know? And so those won't be on the list. I'm sorry, but they will not. So, first things first, we're going to get some honorable mentions. Okay, the top honorable mentions that will be missing from this list are ones that you're probably going to point out to me, and I'm sorry, I love these, but I couldn't make room for them on my list. So, we have the Rankin Bass Christmas specials. So you got your Frosties, you got your Rudolphs, you got your Santa Clauses coming to town. You have your Year Without a Santa Claus. These are all great movies that I love and are part of my holiday viewing. Unfortunately, the list here has more of a movie. There's only 2 items, I believe, that are under an hour long. And so I try to stick more with Christmas movies than Christmas specials, so please forgive me. And that sticking to under an hour things brings me to my next 2 items: A Charlie Brown Christmas and The Grinch, the animated version. These are 2 that I also love and are in my rotation every year. I actually consider them to be better than the Rankin Bass ones. If I had to choose, I would actually choose those 2 over the Rankin Bass ones, but you know, I couldn't find time for them or a spot for them on this top 10 list. So please forgive me. Next one is Gremlins. Now, I love the movie Gremlins. Actually, I prefer Gremlins 2. And if Gremlins 2 were a Christmas movie, I actually would try and find a way to put it on this list. But unfortunately, it is not. So, no Gremlins 2 on the Christmas list, but Gremlins 1 in the runner-up spot. And finally, this argument comes up every year. I used to be one of the people that would support the argument. Now, I'm kind of not sure where I stand, but that is on whether or not Die Hard is a Christmas movie. I talked to a good friend of mine a few weeks back who said that seeing as if it's a movie where you could take Christmas out and only do minimal rewrites, then where Christmas isn't, and even if Christmas isn't a central part of the plot, that doesn't really make it a Christmas movie. So I'm not sure. Now I'm looking at it, I'm not sure that I think Die Hard is a Christmas movie. But, so, unfortunately, along with Die Hard, you won't find any of the other action Christmas movies, such as Lethal Weapon, or Iron Man 3, and of course, Die Hard. And unfortunately not the Silent Night, Deadly Nights, because those aren't good for kids. There's a couple that aren't good for kids on this list, but those especially aren't. But like I said, no Die Hard. So, let's get started. Number 10, I can already hear the complaints coming in, but number 10 is actually Die Hard 2, Die Harder. Like I said, I don't view Die Hard as a Christmas movie as much as I used to. Die Hard 2, on the other hand, definitely has more of a Christmas feel to it. You know, you have the airport, you have it on Christmas Eve, you have the snow, you have the decorations, you have the choir singing out there, you have the music. It feels, maybe it's the snow that gives it the more of a Christmassy feel than the first one. But like with most sequels, I love this one over the first one. And, you know, it's Bruce Willis in his prime, and basic rundown of the movie is John McClane, who is now a LA cop, because after the events of the first movie, he moved out to LA with his kids to support his wife in her job. They're back on the East Coast in Washington, D.C. to celebrate the Christmas with his in-laws. So he goes to pick up his wife at the airport, and turns out that a South American dictator is being transported through the airport, and a rogue army general, played by the handsome William Sadler, is coming to free him, and he puts the airport under lockdown, and McClane's the only one that can save the day, and he does so spectacularly. It's a great movie. It's what I consider a Christmas movie, and, you know, this one's always in my rotation year after year, along with Die Hard, but this one has more of that Christmassy feel to it. So Die Hard 2 is definitely more of a Christmas movie than the first one, in my opinion. Number 9. Speaking of sequels, we have Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. Again, this is just like with Die Hard 2. While Home Alone is a Christmas movie, it's more of a Christmas movie than Die Hard, in my opinion. This one takes the Christmas time and it ramps it up. You know, you got Kevin in New York, and I love New York City at Christmas time. They go all out with the decorations. It's like Walt Disney World. And being a kid lost there, it just feels so much more Christmassy. Not the kid being lost, but the being in New York part. And that's why I thought I included it on the list. For a while, actually, Home Alone 2 and Die Hard 2 were switching back and forth. So this one was almost had the 10th spot, but I decided to make it number 9 because, you know, it would make for a funnier joke. But, like, the set piece is bigger, the traps are better, and part of the plot actually revolves around Christmas time as well, the whole plot revolves around Christmas time, which is the bad guys are out of jail and in New York. They just happen to be in New York. Don't question it, it's a movie. And they went to take the big haul from a toy store on Christmas Eve. They're giving to a charity. So, super busy shopping day. Christmas Eve, all the toys are being bought. So they know it's going to be a big score, but, you know, Kevin saves the day, and he does so spectacularly. And the movie's pure Christmas, pure Home Alone. And like I said, this one's my favorite Home Alone movie. The order goes this one, followed by the first one, followed by Home Sweet Home Alone, and then the rest. Home Sweet Home Alone is only number 3 because it's not as bad as the other ones, but it's still pretty bad. And that being said, if you like good old movie cheese, coming up is our number 8 spot, which is... Number 8 is... a movie that definitely is a Christmas movie because 1, it takes place at Christmas, and 2, it's got the perfect Christmas plot, which is a parent's journey / adventure to find the perfect toy for his son, and that is Jingle All The Way. Now, I remember seeing this in the theater, and surprisingly enough, this was the first Arnold Schwarzenegger movie that I saw in the theater. And the next one I would see would be 6 months later, which would be Batman and Robin. I prefer this one. This one is Arnold plays a dad whose wife thinks that he got the perfect toy for his son, because keep in mind, it's established early in the film that he is not a good father. He's a good businessman, but he's a terrible father. So he goes out on Christmas Eve to have all the toy stores he can to try and find the perfect doll for his son. Well, it's not a doll, it's a giant action figure. but he tries to find it for his son, who is played by young Anakin Skywalker, Jake Lloyd. And also starring in the film are Sinbad and Phil Hartman, and those two are always a good time. I'm a huge Phil Hartman fan. And it goes from set piece to set piece with crazy antics going on, and it's one of those movies where that one I don't mind watching year after year. That one with all the zaniness, all the Christmas stuff going on, and the movie kind of picks up in the last act, where it goes from a family comedy to like a sci-fi action thriller. But it's still a great movie, and it's definitely one that you want to check out with your kids and watch with the whole family. I would definitely recommend this, and it's just a fun family movie. It's a Wonderful Life, the classic Jimmy Stewart, Donna Reed film, which shows a man a world as if he would have never been born. After George Bailey goes through misfortune after misfortune, he wishes he had never been born. His guardian angel shows him how life would be if he hadn't been born, and it turns out that his life affected more people than he thought it did. And it's one of those movies that, makes you realize that how much people depend on you and how much that you're appreciated in this world. It gives you that message of hope for Christmas time. It's a great movie. Jimmy Stewart does a great job. And I was kind of late to the game on this one, because I don't think I saw it for the first time. It had to be within the past 7 years. And I fell in love with this movie immediately. You watch it and it gives you that classic lesson, which is no man is poor that has friends. I'm probably butchering that, but take it that as you will. But it's a great movie. It brings the waterworks every time. Number 6 is another controversial pick that a lot of you may not agree with, especially seeing as I didn't include Die Hard or Gremlins, but it's one that definitely feels more Christmassy to me, and that is Batman Returns. This one, out of all the Batman films out there, 89 through, I guess the Zack Snyder cut that came out this year counts, this is my favorite Batman film. It takes the world from the 1989 Tim Burton Batman film and just improves upon it and builds upon it as well. The basic plot of the film is that a circus gang comes to town and wreaks havoc during the holidays, and Batman's out to stop them, but it turns out that the Penguin is out as well, and it turns out that he's part of the gang, but we don't know that yet, or the citizens don't know that yet. The movie has, and also Batman fights Catwoman. I don't think they join force. They don't join forces in the movie. But the movie is very Christmassy. It takes place at Christmas time, and the whole city's all decked out. And seeing as there is a lot of Christmas in the plot, I consider this a Christmas movie, and probably the best Christmas action movie there is out there. Yeah, I guess I will. But, kids, this one might be too intense for younger children, so I'd say wait till about 9 or 10, and especially if they're a Batman fan, they will enjoy the movie. More Bat gadgets, more Batman being Batman, and Michael Keaton's last outing as Batman thus far, as we know. But it's very enjoyable and very entertaining. So, if you want to have a Christmas movie selection that's not that too usual and has a little bit of the unusual in it, be sure to check out Batman Returns. And that leads us to our number 5, which is another non-Christmas movie. Number 5. What happens when a cat burglar takes a family hostage on Christmas Eve, but then later finds out that they are more dysfunctional than he is? Find out in 1994's The Ref, starring Dennis Leary. In this movie, Dennis Leary plays a cat burglar who takes a family hostage on Christmas Eve and goes to find out that they're more dysfunctional than he is. Will he lose their mind before they do, or will they become worse than him? This one is actually pretty good. This is definitely not for kids, though. This is one of your feel-good, happy Christmas movies. This one takes place with when cold truths come, when the family isn't all right with each other, and Leary is on top of his game here. And this was about a year after Demolition Man, so he was still doing stand-up. He's still doing stand-up. He's doing great. He's on top of his game. This is a great movie, and if you like Christmas movies a little out of the ordinary, check it out. And I would definitely highly recommend this, and have it as be a part of your, not usual Christmas viewing. I'm pretty sure you'll love it, and all the older people in your family will like it as well. Definitely not for kids, but one something that they will like. That leads to our number 4. Number 4, you knew there was going to be an adaptation of A Christmas Carol on here, didn't you? And that brings us to our number 4 spot, which is Mickey's Christmas Carol. This one came out in 1983, and it was actually part of The Rescuers. It was the short beforehand. You know how Pixar does their shorts? So this was released theatrically. Fun fact, this was the first version of A Christmas Carol I ever saw. And so when I think of it, I always associate it with this version. You have Scrooge McDuck as Ebenezer Scrooge, which should come with the territory of having Scrooge in your name. Mickey Mouse as Bob Cratchit, Jiminy Cricket as the Ghost of Christmas Past, and Goofy as Marley. And this is one, it's 24 minutes. You can put it on. I think it's the best Mickey Christmas special there is. Your kids will love it. It's a great way to introduce them to A Christmas Carol that isn't too long, but they can still get the story and get fulfillment out of it. And, it's always in our rotation every year. It's one of those things that, we always watch. You never outgrow it. And it's one of the perfect tellings of A Christmas Carol. And, definitely check it out and watch it with your kids. Number 3. Those of you that know me or know how I am probably knew that this movie would show up somewhere on this list. At points it was number 1, and during my last rewrite it was actually number 2. But the more I thought about it, I thought I would. With the current number 2, I was juggling a lot, and finally it's resting here at number 3. And sorry to do this, I know I'm probably letting some of you down, but that is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. This one is a great movie. It is definitely in our watches every year. I love it. It's funny. It's got a great story. It has plot points that we can all deal with. Family coming from out of town, who's going to sleep where, and just horrible relatives that show up, usually the black sheep, maybe me in my family. But it's a great movie. It's very entertaining. You have Chevy Chase at the top of his game here. Now, everyone always says Aunt Bethany, Uncle Lewis, Cousin Eddie, they're the funniest parts of the movie. I feel Chevy Chase is, as Clark, this was his, in my opinion, last great outing as Clark. He's got the good one-liners. He's got the slapstick comedy. He's got the experience in the role. There's one scene when he's climbing the ladder to put the Christmas decorations up, and his hand's here. He does one of these. That gets me every time. My favorite part of the movie is the sledding scene where he first slides into his lair dudes. He takes off that flaming bolt, and they don't make him like this anymore. This was a great movie, and it's a great Christmas movie. I would recommend it for older kids if you're going to watch it. Probably about 9-10. It's got a PG-13 rating, so a year or two beforehand, but use at your own discretion. It's a funny movie. The kids will love some of the things like all the lights on the house, the animals chasing each other, the slapstick. The adults will love the dialogue. It's an all-around good movie. You'll like it. If you haven't seen it, if you're a big pop culture person watching me, chances are you've already seen it. But now we're going to bring things down again with my number 2 pick. Number 2 is the Academy Award-winning animated film, The Snowman, from 1982. This is about a boy who builds a snowman that comes to life and shows the snowman how he lives, and then the snowman flies him around the world and takes him to the North Pole to meet Santa Claus. And considering on the version that you watch, it is insinuated that the boy is a younger version of David Bowie. In fact, David Bowie's son, Doug, posted a picture a few years back of the scarf that the boy is given from Santa, and that I saw that it hit me right in the feels. There are two versions of it. One is the one with the Bowie version, and the other is just a guy walking into the woods. That one's not that good. Make sure you get the Bowie version if you're going to watch it. Once again, this was a staple in my house growing up. The sun walking in the air was amazing, in my opinion. It's got that perfect haunting feel of Christmas, and the ending is a bit sad, but for the moments that the snowman is there, it is a happy time. And chances are you've seen the Snowman before, not the movie, but you've seen him. They've made stuffed animal versions of him and so on. And the Snowman's big, he's friendly. He's one of those characters that you'll learn to love. And he's a great looking snowman also. Show this one to your kids, like I said with Mickey's Christmas Carol. This is one that they'll love, and it's short. So if you're looking for something short to show them for Christmas, definitely check this out. They'll love it when the snowman goes to visit Santa, and they'll have a great time. And check it out. Number 1. Okay, the moment you've all been waiting for. Now, when I told you that number 4 was Mickey's Christmas Carol, I should have also included that it wouldn't be the only version of Christmas Carol on my list. And that why number 1 is 1988's Scrooged, starring Bill Murray, directed by Richard Donner. It is a modern for the 80s, take on the Christmas Carol story, where Bill Murray's Frank Cross is a modern version of Ebenezer Scrooge, who is a TV exec, who is banking everything on a live-action musical version of Scrooge. And the night of the airing, he's visited by 3 ghosts, and I think you know where it goes from there. I don't have to explain anymore. This movie's funny. It has an amazing performance by Murray. All of the ghosts do an amazing job. There's awesomely funny slapstick comedy, and it like all versions, it ends genuinely heartwarming, warming, and it's one of those ones that you watch every year and you appreciate it more as you get older. And if you're a fan of the Christmas season, it's one of those ones where the redemption arc in this one feels more real than it does in the other versions of A Christmas Carol. And I cannot recommend this one enough. Children-wise, I would say maybe around 7 or 8. Bill Murray from the other things, and he does a great job in this, and he shows off a whole range of emotions. He's not just like one-liner cliche guy. He gives it his all. During his monologue at the ending, you really feel for him, and he does not phone in his performance. And that's why I think this is, I know it's not the best Christmas movie, but it's my favorite Christmas movie. And, I can't imagine a better way to wrap up this countdown than with that movie. Okay, that being said, that's my top 10. Now keep in mind this isn't based on anything except for my opinion. So if you didn't agree with me, try not to be a jerk about it. Comment below with your top 10. And include some Christmas movies. Include some ones that you think I should have included. I would love to hear from you. And, like and subscribe. And, be sure to follow me on Twitter at @ThePopDaddy. And email me, tompopdaddycoombs@gmail.com. I hope to hear from you guys soon. And I hope you enjoyed this list. I hope it was entertaining. And, I'll see you next time. I'll probably include my countdown of movies from the year. And then after that, we're getting really close to baby time, so I'll start cranking out some of those baby furniture reviews. So I will see you later. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday Season, and I'll see you soon. Peace.